There's a lot I want to talk about because I've been really working a lot about this whole thing because I've got this, like I've mentioned before, a whole sort of slice of life bunch of short stories that it has an overarching thing where, of course, it's the Apple Rock Kaiju is the main thing when it went through and ate 12,000 people, half the town of Apple Rock. Part of that is I want to spend the rest of the time talking about this because I've mentioned, that it's dangerous inside and it's dangerous in the razor's edge, which is dangerous in the outside, but we've more tamed this place. You can't tame the inside and the razor's edge because there's an eternal frontier. There's always more. So you can tame an area, leave, you come back, it's a new untamed area. There's hideous beasts and monsters, but there's nothing out there really that is going to claim human beings as primary prey. Anything that did would quickly die out itself. We don't reproduce fast enough. It takes a year almost to gestate a child. Whereas the smaller critters we have in our world, like hamsters, it only takes a few weeks. And they can pump out a huge litter. And then really quickly, their babies are pumping out litters. So anything that predates on us, we'd vanish quickly. They'd vanish quickly. We're largely just opportunity prey, no matter if you're on the inside or if you're on inside the razor's edge. At the same time, there is the one thing I've talked about that is both the exception and the exception to the rule that proves the rule. Because, of course, the Apple Rock Kaiju, in all of its existence, a very, very long time, because there have been human beings on the inside before there were human beings on the outside, and I'll talk about that another day. The Apple Rock Kaiju has only, in the past, preyed on human beings. It has, in the present, only preyed on human beings, and will likely, for the future, only prey on human beings. It has eaten a lot of people through the years. Now, it has been several hundred years since the last time that it depopulated the town, because you go back in time and it's like maybe 2,000 people a couple hundred years back when it was at its biggest. Pretty easy to wipe out if it rampages. With this latest rampage, the town had been doing some meta-analysis and found out that a lot of stuff was falling down and breaking apart through the last year, where everyone was feeling just this great pressure in the razor's edge, which was the whole Apple Rock Kaiju getting ready. But the Crimson Kingdom, when they came in to do some work afterward, they did a greater and deeper meta-analysis. The previous rampage of the Apple Rock Kaiju, when it ate less than 700 people, and everyone in town, of course, is like, well, why would I move? I'm fine. Last time it came through, it only ate 700 people. You get worried, you get careful, you know where to run, you know where to hide. Yeah, you don't. There was a lot of property damage done. And that was 3 years before this rampage. When they did that meta-analysis, yeah, there was a repeater booster tower that was put in after that rampage to handle communications in Apple Rock after that. The place that they bought had a major nexus of gas lines underneath it. On the previous rampage, where it ate less than 700 people, it damaged and destroyed things like the power generation, all these things that were good for infrastructure, so they had to be rebuilt. And every place that they were rebuilt were underneath a whole bunch of major gas lines. And 3 years later, when the Apple Rock Kaiju rampaged again and the gas lines started to explode, the nexus line underneath the repeater booster that handled all communications for the town by that time, everything was routed through the booster. Everything else had failed. So it was being routed through the booster. No emergency communications. When the gas lines went, that tower was vaporized. There was nothing left. To the entire rest of the developing electronic communications part of the world, suddenly Apple Rock just vanished. Nobody had any idea what was happening. It just went dark. For people that were on cell phones, that lasted a little bit longer. So if you had people on the outside, like one of the people in the story I want to tell, she's sighted, she's on her laptop, she's like FaceTiming with someone on their mobile in Apple Rock. And they're just talking, and at precisely 1 a.m. on that night, they're just talking and yakking, and then suddenly they're watching, and boom, all the lights go off on the Apple Rock side. And she's like going, well, what's going on? And the person she's talking to is like, what the hell? What happened to the lights? And then boom, connection lost, and nothing. Apple Rock goes radio silent, dark. To everyone else out there in the world, suddenly it's like it doesn't exist. No one has any idea what happened or what is happening. And for the next 8 hours, the Apple Rock Kaiju rampages through town, expertly hurting everyone, terrorizing, killing, and eating. And in the end, 12,000 people are gone. And as I've mentioned, how there's more there on the inside for like landscaping, because it is a powerful being and not a species. The Apple Rock Kaiju, when it settles down and starts curling into its Apple Rock form, so that its outside armor fits together so tightly and so well you can't even see a seam, there's more there on the inside, because this thing is big. And when it curls up and gets down into hibernation mode, it is a lot smaller. It can't fold up, but it does because there's more there. Just as on the inside, it can eat 12,000 people at one shot because its insides aren't limited in size to the size of its body. Just like when it curls up, there's more there. It could have easily eaten everyone in town, all 25,000 people. But its nutritional requirements had been hit at right around 5,000. After that, it was just eating for flavor until it started to get sleepy. A lot of meat to digest, so you gotta go and rest.